So thank you so much, Alex, and I'm really happy that you pronounced my name correctly. This is something that's very rare. And just a short, it's Abouelezz is an Arabic word which means father of luxury. So I'm happy that. So first of all, on behalf of Wolffkran and myself, I would like to welcome you to our presentation today. I'm really sorry for that Derek from BAM International would not be able to join us today, but I will do my best to cover all his part with all the questions that you're going to offer about. So there's some, oh yeah. So since we're having a lot of international audience here, I thought that we could start with a very interesting words. The buildings we create inspire us and reflect who we are as a society. I really don't know who wrote this quote, but we can see that every country has a different strategy for their buildings at the moment. There are tall buildings, there are sustainable buildings, green buildings. So, but at the end, we come together and sit in one room. So this is something that I really, really appreciate. So when I was preparing the presentation, I was thinking, what could be the best interesting part to start with? So I thought, let's talk a little bit about the new technologies in the construction industry. There was a really nice, interesting study that was made by the Boston Consulting Group together with the World International Forum. And they were trying to understand the likelihood and the impact influence on the technology into the construction markets. So when we really look into the red box, we can see what are the technologies that are having the highest impact and the highest likelihood in the coming years. And how, but the question now is not just to determine these technologies, but to understand how these technologies will affect our business, tower construction, the tower industry. So for an example, as Theodore today took us in a deep insight into the BIM and gave us a great idea about how the concept works. But we are trying to look at it from also an extra perspective, which is the tower cranes perspective. How can we benefit more from that? And we will see it as we go through the presentation. Of course, also, Jörg at the beginning talked about the prefabricated and modular components, which are really going up in Asia, coming back. The technology is not old, it's not new, it's an old technology. But now it's coming back due to a lot of challenges. Costs of labor is going up. We need to have a lot of challenges that we'll see as we go through the presentation again. But how does this influence our business? We can see that loads of buildings are going high. So we see that these modular systems, we're moving a lot of on-site jobs going to be off-site. And we need now to put these modular components into our buildings. So we need high loads. Project is proceeding very fast, which means that I don't want my crane to be the bottleneck. So if it's a crane internal or external, it has to climb fast. Loads have to be fast. Everything has to be fast because nowadays time is money. So this is one of the issues that we're facing now in our industry. When we look into the Internet of Things, for an example, and how devices are being connected together. We've got cameras, we've got sensors, we've got RFID tags all over the world now being connected together. Our machines are becoming more intelligent. We have to speed up everything that has to do with the construction, not just the construction process. Even though when we talk about service, when talking about maintenance, operation, everything has to be optimized in order to cover the very slow and small profit margins, like we saw today as well in the Strabag presentation, 3.3%. This is really low. If we don't proceed faster and quicker, cost effectively, we would not achieve our targets. So if we go a little bit on the right side here, we can see a very interesting study from Global Data, how they are comparing investments into technologies in 2016 with 2018. And this was an international study from different countries. So we can see that really the intent, the ability to invest into new technologies in our market is increasing. And we have to take this in consideration when we are talking about technologies in our business. So let us go quickly more deeper into the four main technologies. When we look at the biggest investment now, which is going to be the BIM, we see that there is an intensive increase in the present and the past into investing more in the BIM technologies. Even when we compare it together with the Internet of Things, it's coming. This kind of connectivity, more companies are willing to invest, and we are moving in this direction. Today we had some discussions about drones. Based on this research from global, they don't see that the drones is going to increase in the next years. It was going up and then started to slow down due to legalization and a lot of issues, but it's still being investigated. Last but not least, 3D printing. And 3D printing is a very important topic as well. It's opposite for the modular. Instead of having a lot of off-site work, now we are going to have pushing this inside, and they're trying to do complex shapes, prefabricated complex shapes on the site so that you can easily have just-in-time operations and build faster. Again, we're always referring back to the word faster, quicker, and cheaper. This is the new trend we're working on. On the right side, if you can see, there's a very nice picture of a 3D printed office in a building in Dubai, which is something that they're trying to force the construction market in the coming years to invest more into 3D printing. For us as tower crane manufacturers, there's a big question. Will there be a day where spare parts will be 3D printed on site? Nobody knows. It will come. One day, if we look at the 3D printing technologies, today you can 3D print plastics, metals, even ceramics. So maybe we're gonna, instead of sending spare parts from sites, we can break down and just send a file on the internet and let the site print it out. Nobody knows, but we have to predict how the future is gonna look into our research and development within our countries. One of the interesting things that we can look into as well are the drivers and challenges into these new technologies. It's very important to see, where are the drivers? How is this going to be driven? Is it just productivity? No, it's not just increasing the productivity, but there's also competition. Companies are competing, especially in our business. How can they be more efficient and competitive to win a lot of work? At the same thing, we're trying to reduce the costs. We are trying to go faster, cheaper, quicker, improving communication. Again, we come back to the word digitalization, connectivity, sharing information, reduced material wastes, and of course, reducing the time delays. But to these drivers, there is also some challenges pushing us to the back as well. We've got the high investments. We've got the limited return on the return on investments is very of the short terms. We have labor. Labor is a big issue. How can we find the right labor? As we're talking about today in the discussions, when Peter was saying, "Oh, labor is important and how we have to train them," it's a big issue that we have to consider. Adaptability of labor, of course, resources, technology awareness, and the uncertainty of what's going to happen. So, we really don't want to go into the BIM. We talked a lot about that topic, but it's very nice to understand the concept of BIM, which is based on not just in the construction. It starts from the beginning, from the design. We're trying to visualize the project before it even starts, and not just during the construction phase. We have the design phase, we have the construction phase, and we have the operations phase until until our buildings are even being renovated. The BIM is a long-term process. It's not something that we have to consider during construction. But one of the things that many companies forget, especially in our business, is tower cranes. Tower cranes has to be involved in the BIM. We have to include all the kind of digitalized information that we can in order to integrate into the whole process. And our main pillars into this digitalization process is based on three main issues. The first one is going to be the digital maintenance system. The second issue is the failure diagnosis system. And the third issue is the online monitoring system. So just to give you an idea how the process, the service and maintenance process nowadays works. So if we have a tower crane on site, and this tower crane is 24/7 sending information, online data. So this online data is being stored on my cloud and is being shared together with my customer So the customer is aware of what is happening with the crane 247 when it's in operation. But at the same time, it's also sending remote diagnosis to my service center. My service center is detecting any kind of failure or any kind of problems that we are having with the machine on site. So by improving this kind of communication that we were talking about, this service center can be also able to remotely repair my machine. But what happens if it doesn't? We are talking about the breakdown of a machine. We're talking about a stop of a project that costs a lot of money is being stopped for a couple of days, which is a big, big risk. So what we have is that the service center is communicating directly with my customer back and communicating with my spare parts center. Spare parts have to be detached immediately. It has the ordering process has to be quicker in order to reduce the breakdown time of my machine. Direct communication with my technician from the service center and from my spare parts in case he needs spare parts. If not, if I need my technician on site, I will not wait until somebody calls me on the phone and try to organize something. This is too much time. We need to be quicker. So the whole idea we're talking about is a closed loop of a service process that is pushing our whole industry into the future in digitalization of service. But this is not the end. We're not just providing data and information. From this data, we're gaining knowledge. And from this knowledge, we're becoming more intelligent. And the more we become intelligent, the closer the loop is and how we can easily provide the service and maintenance required on time. So as we were talking, the influence of digitalization is very important to push my maintenance technologies from breakdown maintenance up to predictive. But this can't go in one step. It has to go gradually. So what is happening is preventive maintenance nowadays is becoming very, very popular because we're still in the learning phase. Preventive maintenance is also allowing us to avoid breakdowns as long as we're following schedules of maintenance. But we come to the same point that we discussed today. It's not a matter of following a manual, but at least I have to provide the data in a digital form that is automatically optimized and managed in order to ensure that my customer who's using my machine is able to provide the maintenance and service required. And this is what we were working on, and we'll go through a case study together. So last, I would like to concentrate on, in this point, about the predictive tower crane maintenance. As we said, the predictive maintenance is based on three main pillars. The first pillar is the failure diagnosis system. The second one will be the digital maintenance system. And the third will be the online monitoring system. By having these three pillars working together, we have the opportunity to achieve predictive maintenance as soon as possible. So now we go to a very interesting case study or project, and I'm really sorry that Derek was not able to join us from BAM Construction. But based on the experience we had, there is a great opportunity for improving the operations of tower cranes in construction sites, as long as there are a lot of digital understanding and you believe in the influence of digitalization in your sites. So this is a very interesting project we have nowadays running in Dubai, which is the Museum of the Future. And this is an iconic project actually in Dubai. What makes this very special is that the ruler of Dubai is sending a message to his society in the future. How can they survive? And this is based, and what is on the building, it's all his words and his message. So he's giving his message through this word. One of the biggest challenges on this project is that we have the building is directly at the main road in Dubai, which is the Sheikh Zayed Road. And you have a metro line. So for us, it was a big challenge to locate our cranes. And all the cranes were located on the opposite side in order not to have any kind of accidents on the main road. So for this project, there were two luffers, two Wolf 355Bs, and one hammerhead, which is the 8033B. 8033.20 with a maximum load capacity of 20 tons, and the two luffers were in 28 tons. So just to give you an idea about this project, what makes it special is that each panel on the building is being placed separately, and all this is being digitalized in order to optimize the carrying of these panels on the building. So if each panel has a different design, they're all different. They're starting from 2 to 5 tons. Minimum length was, I think, 9 meters. Maximum was 18 meters. So one mistake in one panel, if it gets damaged during the positioning of this panel, the whole project stops. And the project is very, very tight. So all the panels are being delivered on just on time. So for such a project, you need a machine that will not break down, a machine that's very smooth, well-maintained, and at the same time makes it easy for the operators in order to operate the machine. So what was made on this project? They have been using the BIM 360 field, and it was used as a web-based application on a mobile application. Of course, the mobile application was very easy to use, so that it was synchronized with the web, of course, and had the opportunity for all the inspectors to do and capture information directly on site. So they go on site and they start doing their job that we will see later, and everything then afterwards is, when they come online, is being uploaded on the web-based application to be shared with all the employees. It's all about sharing the information to avoid any kind of problems, gives you real-time data, and at the same time, it makes it easy to reporting. So if you are looking for a daily or a monthly, weekly report, whatever, it's easy to provide it. So their main concept was to move from this paper-based chaos to become more digital managed. And this was really applied on all the machinery that was available on site. So what they did is they used the field in order to manage all kind of information on site. If you look, for an example, on the marked line, this was for the tower crane. I'm sorry it's not that clear, but it gives you all the input information concerning location of machine, what type of machine, when was the maintenance due, who was the last person who did the maintenance work on the machine, and this is being shared on the cloud so that everybody has accessibility to it. But the question is, what happens when the inspector is on the site? So he goes to the site with his application. Each component has a QR code, inspects the QR code, scans the QR code, and all the information of his job to do comes as in a checklist. So the digitalized checklist is based on what the manufacturer of the tower crane provides them. Following this checklist, he can follow when was the time of the previous inspection, when is the time of the inspection now, what will he be doing exactly, when will he do it, and all the information is being uploaded on the cloud. Once he goes back to plugs it in his office, all the information are transformed online. So definitely with technicians, it's always difficult to manage all the jobs. So there are always reminders and alerts. So each technician inspector gets his message that he has to go to this crane in this site at that time to do these specific jobs. Everything is specified. Once the inspection is done, there is the opportunity to load all the information, what was done, and what is expected to be done, so that the next inspector will not have a problem to know what is missing from the last inspection. But this is that's not it all. But in addition, all the records that has to do with the machine are being loaded on the system. So it's like a black box where you can put all the information inside in case whenever the accident happens, there is nothing to say, ooh, who is responsible for that? Get on your records, follow up what was happening, and you can trace. It's all about traceability and sharing the information. And the good thing is that today you are sharing the information, tomorrow you're transforming the information into knowledge. And this is what we are looking for in our business. again, as we had, based on our experience, and such a topic is very important when you're talking about external inspections and third-party inspections, where they need to see, they need to see what was done and when was it done and so on. So you are providing easy accessible information for municipalities, for in third parties inspection and so on. And this is a very important issue to be considered. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you liked it. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mohamed.
Thanks, Alex.
Does anyone have a question, please?
Perfect.
Well, I should ask quickly, actually. You work all over the world, and obviously the project you talked about today is in Dubai, but where do you see the greatest progress made in digital construction techniques?
That's a really good question. The problem is that the more regulations you have and the more governments are very slow, that makes the whole process very slow. So if you look in Dubai, which is already a digitalized government, where everything is digitalized, they're always pushing for that. So if you can see that with the 3D printing topic, we already see this project since a couple of years. It's not something new. When you talk about BIM, all the international construction companies in the country are also using the BIM as a tool in order to optimize their construction and competition. So I believe that competition is one of the drivers that we discussed in our slide, and this is a main driver for just if somebody starts the business, everybody has to do the same, otherwise they will not be competitive. So I think that the Middle East and United Kingdom is also having a lot of projects with BIM at the moment, and Ireland, of course. And I really appreciate the work that BAM is doing into this direction. And I'm really sorry that we didn't have somebody from BAM that can really give us a better insight into their amazing digitalization strategies. But hopefully next time they will be able to join. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks very much.
Yeah.